Hey guys, welcome back to 5-0-100-0.com. I am Fugget, standing for the fittest underdog guru using intelligent tactics. And today, guys, I want to tell you that a cross-trained body is a healthier body. Okay, now this goes back many moons ago. Okay, if you look back at like the inception of UFC, right? Mixed martial arts fighting, the cage fighting stuff. What you'll see at the very beginning of this, somewhere in the early 90s, was the concept of UFC was that you took the best boxer and put him up against the best kickboxer, or the best karate guy and put him up against a jiu-jitsu fighter, and things like that, right? And the idea was that you would see who the superior fighter was, but also what the superior art form was, or fighting style, or what was the most effective. So what's interesting is as that went on, years and years later, what happened is it evolved into something that kind of brought to a prophetic conclusion that Bruce Lee, the late, the great, had said about fighting, and that is quote from him, which is, absorb what is useful and reject what is useless. Now, you saw this in mixed martial arts fighting, where every guy kind of has a little bit of jiu-jitsu or ground training. They know how to throw kicks, they know how to strike or punch, they know submissions, all these things, right? Because what they did was they borrowed from the best of everything and became a more well-rounded, complete fighter. Now, when it comes to fitness, we tend to use the term cross-training. So that could mean, doing some strength training or resistance training. And that could be in the form of actually lifting weights. It could be in the form of body weight exercises like push-ups, squats, things like that. Going to the park, doing some pull-ups on the chin-up bars. Anything that's really stressing the muscles and causing some hypertrophy or muscle growth. So usually if you see a person that for a while has been doing the same type of training, the body starts to take on a certain look and a certain stereotype. So for instance, if you have somebody who just likes to run and they run and log a lot of miles every week, they start to take on a very typical looking or traditional runner's body. They could have lean muscular legs. Depending on diet and genetics, they might also have lean upper body, but traditionally their upper body tends to be less toned. And they might even have, to my surprise, when I ran my marathon, I saw people passing me that were 20, 30 pounds overweight, but had really good endurance. So their heart was strong and their legs were built to last, to go, mile after mile, and they excelled, they did well. If you look at a sprinter's body, very lean, very muscular, strong, dominant hamstrings, glute muscles. Sorry about that. The list goes on and on, right? Weight training, somebody who just lifts a lot of weights, they'll traditionally have, a more muscular physique, sometimes bulky, depending on how far they take it and how their diet is. But the point is that, by the title of the video, a cross-trained body is a healthy body, or healthier body, is that when you're cross-training, you're not traditionally or typically stressing any one or taxing one system or one joint at the same angle all the time. If you just do like 1,000 crunches a day, I saw it in a seminar years ago where the presenter, during his whole presentation, was bending, took a credit card between his fingers and was just bending it, and didn't really explain what he was doing. He just kept doing it. So it was partly a distraction to see him doing that, but you knew he was coming to some kind of point, at least you hoped he was. And so what happened is by the end of near the end of the seminar, the thing snapped in half. And then he brought it home and brought the point to light, which was that if you continue to do the same movement over and over, eventually something's going to break, right? So in this case of doing sit-ups all the time, it was going to be like the lower back, because it's a ton of spinal flexion, and eventually the lumbar spine or the discs or whatnot, something was going to go, right? If you weren't balancing it with other training. So that was his point. It was a pretty creative way to show that. So all I'm saying is that we all tend to have, or we gravitate to the forms of exercise that we enjoy. You know, usually you have your little camps of Pilates, yoga. Some people just like to swim. Some people like resistance training. But usually people don't naturally gravitate to all of the above, right? And I'm not saying that you've got to, you know, you've got to completely balance it, you know, and do all forms. But maybe even like an athlete has cycles where he has a strength cycle where he lifts heavier, lays off the endurance stuff to kind of let his nervous system recover and just, you know, give his body a break to grow some new muscle and give his joints a break if he does a lot of running, for instance. And if somebody who does a lot of running, usually it's injury that forces them to have to like scale back a little bit and do some more resistance training, stretching, mobility training, and what have you. But if you're looking for like a long-term solution or to be in the game a lot longer, your best bet is to do some cyclical type training and or cross train and do a lot of different things. You know, you're probably really strong at one form of exercise or another, and there's things that you enjoy doing. So just start to think about what you can do and what you can like add into your program to make it a little bit more balanced. And believe me, I'm preaching to myself here. I love to, you know, like in the summertime especially, I like endurance work. I like to go out and run and this and that. But I also know the negative effects, you know, long term on like joints and, you know, the cartilage in the knees tend to go. You know, you talk to a lot of runners that, you know, have been doing it for year in and year out, and they'll tell you about knee issues or hip issues. And you know, the best thing you can do is what I found is if you want to prolong, you know, those, you know, the years in your knees and your ability to keep running, is to do some cross training, strengthen your quads and other leg musculature, your back, your core, and that's going to allow you to run. You know, it's going to add years to your running. It's going to add running to your years, I guess, or it could, it should. So, guys, that's it. Just thought I'd touch base on that. I hope the audio's okay. I kept the windows down, and I hope all is well, you guys. Like, share, subscribe, cross train. If you have any questions, hit me up. All right, take care.